We're back, and while we just talked to Barbara Moses about paying jobs, many of us, young and old, find a lot of satisfaction in part-time or even full-time volunteer work.
David Allen is with us now. David is the recently appointed Executive Director of Volunteer Toronto, the largest of 200 volunteer centers across Canada, helping to create the best possible volunteer experience. And David, let's start right there. First of all, welcome.
Thank you.
What does the best possible volunteer experience mean? What does Volunteer Toronto do?
Well, our services are really in three primary areas. One is volunteer referral. We maintain a database of volunteer opportunities, and we invite people who are interested in volunteering to visit our website and to go through it and to find something of interest. We also provide quite a bit of training to not-for-profit organizations in volunteer engagement. And we also provide a number of outreach services to population groups that want to volunteer more but face different barriers. And our youth programs are a great example of that.
Interesting.
Now, you're very new to Volunteer Toronto, and congratulations.
Thank
I think
you.
you've been there just a few months now, but in your experience and in the experience of the organization, what are some of the most popular volunteering opportunities that people are looking for in the boomer set?
Well, boomers are looking for different kinds of opportunities than perhaps the previous generation. Boomers are interested in social justice, but they're probably not as motivated to volunteer out of a sense of duty or religious commitment. They're also struggling with time pressures, having to deal with family and jobs. So they're looking for volunteer opportunities that are short-term, ones that where they can really make a difference. They are looking for leadership opportunities to direct a project. And so the kinds of things that might interest boomers would be perhaps to be a consultant to a not-for-profit and to do an operational review and to come up with a report with recommendations for improvement. Maybe they would like to help out with a special event and organize that. So it would be a contained project, but something that's stimulating that would interest a boomer the most.
Right, and presumably one that draws on their experience, or do they go looking for things that are completely different from their work experience?
Well, that varies, and some volunteers say that they're very interested in seeking a volunteer opportunity that is much different than what they're doing in their day-to-day work life. It gives them an opportunity to develop new skills. But we're also noticing, though, that people do want to showcase their career skills and to give back to society.
David, let's sort of start at the beginning. Let's assume that I've just retired from my career and I spent my whole working life working in that job. I just didn't have time for volunteer work. How would I go about it? Would I just call up Volunteer Toronto and say, find me something? Do I go and look at your opportunity list? Or do you actually sit down with people to determine what might be mutually beneficial both for them and for one of your organizational clients, as it were?
Yeah, well, we do provide some consulting to individuals that would like help navigating our website or don't know really where to start. But I guess depending on the level of sophistication of the volunteer opportunity that you're looking for, you're going to have to approach it a little differently. So if you're interested in just helping out on a special event and you're not too particular about the job that you're given, then you could probably go to our database on our website and find something. But if you're looking for a more professional kind of role where you're leading and directing, then you're best to really take a very careful reflection process before you begin the search. Really ask yourself the question, how much time do I have? What are my likes and dislikes? What am I really passionate about? And so with that, that will help you to figure out, well, this is the kind of organization that I'd like to work for. And a lot of volunteers feel that all they need to do is to just approach an organization and say, I have all these qualifications and experience, now find me something that I can do. But if you're looking for a very senior position, one that you're going to be entrusted with a lot of responsibility, you almost have to approach it like the hidden job market. You need to identify the kinds of organizations that you're passionate about, that you believe in their cause, and then do research and try to understand what are their strategic priorities. And then try to see, all right, do you have something to offer them in meeting their strategic priorities? And try to get a meeting with the manager of volunteer services, or even
if there is one, because a lot of organizations, not-for-profits, don't have.
That's right. Well,
like
make an
that.
appointment with the executive director then of the organization, and sell yourself, not in terms of your own qualifications, but how you can benefit the not-for-profit in achieving its strategic priorities.
Right. Now, being a volunteer, especially for a boomer with many years of career experience behind them, can be a very humbling experience, especially if you're faced with, technology that nobody's expecting you, or maybe I hope they're not expecting you to be a whiz at the technology, but even proficiency at technology might be a bit of an issue. Plus, you're given some pretty menial, but they're important to the organization or to the project or to the event, but they're jobs that need to be done, and they're not, they're not the best jobs necessarily. What do you tell people about, putting their expectations at a lower level?
Well, again, I don't know whether you need to put your expectations at a lower level. I think that it just might require a little more effort on your part to find something that matches. I think that boomers have an awful lot to contribute when it comes to things like their life experiences and wisdom and their people skills as a result of all the experiences that they've had through their lives. They often are in a position, perhaps, where they don't have the same family care responsibilities or work responsibilities that they used to have, so that they can offer an organization undistracted time. And that is so important to a not-for-profit. How many times has a not-for-profit heard from a volunteer, well, I can't make this meeting, or I can't meet this deadline because my family has had to take priority, or my work has had to take a priority. And so they'll just gobble up the idea that you can provide that undivided attention.
David, is it hard for these organizations to actually turn down volunteers? Because there must be situations where either they've been disappointed with the volunteer's performance, or they just don't think the volunteer is working out or may not work out. It must be difficult for them to say thank you, but no thank you to someone who's offering their service out of the goodness of their heart.
Well, yes, and that's why it's very important that not-for-profits go through a very thorough recruitment process. What we'll find is that most not-for-profits will approach volunteer recruitment much like they do employee recruitment. So one should expect that they're going to have to go through an application process, an interviewing process, a reference check, an orientation and training process.
Sometimes security checks too.
Exactly.
If they're going to be working with children or vulnerable populations.
Exactly. So all this is designed to ensure that there is the right fit. But of course, sometimes there isn't the right fit. It doesn't work out, and it is the responsibility of all involved to come clean and to rectify the situation as best they can.
Yeah.
I wonder, David, if you've ever, or if you hear much about volunteers sometimes being expected to make donations or financial contributions to organizations at the same time they're making donations of their time, which are considerable.
Well, that expectation, if it does exist, is primarily on boards of directors.
Right, which are always, for not-for-profits, volunteers.
Volunteers, right. And I would think that if an organization is a registered charity, and they're into fundraising in a big way, when you're recruited as a director on the board, there is some expectation that you will help financially, or at least help with the fundraising if you're not giving your own funds to the organization.
Right.
That's just a normal expectation. But I'm not sure that that is an expectation of volunteers at other levels of the organization.
David, we've got about 30 seconds left. Last question. You mentioned actually earlier that there's a difference between volunteering in our generation than there was perhaps a generation ago. Amplify a bit on that. How is it different?
Well, as I mentioned, the earlier generation, they volunteered more out of a sense of duty or religious commitment. And the boomers today, they want something that is going to be fulfilling. They want a reciprocal relationship. Where you know, so.
Sure, understood. This has been very interesting. Thank you so much. Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
here, and best wishes in your new position.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And thanks to all of you for joining us tonight.
And we hope you'll be with us next week. And until then, keep thinking spring-like thoughts, and good night.
Good night.